Have you ever wondered about the biggest financial frauds in U.S. history? In a landscape as vast and complex as the American financial system, the opportunity for cunning and deceit can sometimes be too tempting for those with a less than scrupulous moral compass. Over the years, we've seen a host of financial frauds that have rocked the nation and the world, from pyramid schemes to insider trading, all the way to high-tech cryptocurrency swindles. These aren't just tales of greed and deceit, they are cautionary tales that have shaped the very fabric of our economic and legal systems. We'll be examining some of the most notorious cases that have become infamous in their audacity and impact, shedding light on the dark side of the financial world. Today, we delve into the intriguing world of financial frauds, starting from the 1920s all the way to the 21st century. Our journey begins in the Roaring Twenties with a man named Charles Ponzi, an Italian immigrant who arrived in the United States with big dreams and an even bigger knack for deception. Ponzi's name is now synonymous with one of the most infamous financial frauds in history, the Ponzi scheme. Charles Ponzi's scheme was devilishly simple and yet incredibly effective. It revolved around the idea of exploiting the differences in international reply coupons for postage stamps. Ponzi promised investors outrageous returns of 50% in just 45 days or 100% in 90 days. The catch? He never actually invested in the international reply coupons. Instead, he used the money from new investors to pay off the older ones, creating an illusion of profit. The magnitude of this scheme was astronomical. Ponzi managed to swindle millions of dollars from unsuspecting investors, living a life of luxury and extravagance. However, as with all things too good to be true, Ponzi's house of cards inevitably collapsed. His downfall came when the Boston Post started investigating his business, revealing the truth behind his scheme. Ponzi was eventually sentenced to prison, but his story didn't end there. His scheme has become a textbook example of financial fraud, giving birth to the term Ponzi scheme. Even today, it serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of too good to be true investments and the importance of financial transparency. Charles Ponzi's story set a precedent for many more financial frauds to come. His legacy, a cautionary tale of greed and deceit, has left an indelible mark on the world of finance, reminding us to always be wary of where we place our trust and our money. Fast forward to the 80s, a scandal known as the savings and loan crisis shook the United States. Let's delve into the era of rock and roll, neon lights, and unfortunately, one of the most significant financial scandals in American history. The savings and loan crisis, a debacle that cost the American taxpayers an estimated $161 billion, with the tab running up to the tune of $323 billion when adjusted for inflation. At the heart of this crisis were savings and loans associations, or thrifts, which were essentially small banks that had their hands tied when it came to the types of investments they could make. These institutions were allowed to lend long-term, fixed-rate mortgages, but could only accept short-term deposits. This mismatch led to a crisis when interest rates rose sharply in the late 70s. In an attempt to save these struggling institutions, the government loosened the regulations. Unsurprisingly, this led to a flood of poor investments and outright fraud. Key players like Charles Keating of the infamous Lincoln Savings and Loan exploited these relaxed rules. Keating and others like him made risky investments, often using depositors' money, leading to the collapse of many thrifts. The impact on the U.S. economy was catastrophic. Over 1,000 thrifts collapsed, and the government was forced to bail out the insured depositors. The crisis led to a deep recession in the early 90s, and many of the key players ended up behind bars. Yet, the repercussions went beyond the financial realm. The scandal tarnished the reputation of 5 U.S. senators, known as the Keating Five, who were investigated for corruption for intervening on behalf of Charles Keating. The scandal served as a stark reminder of the dangers of deregulation, poor oversight, and the devastating potential of financial fraud. The savings and loan scandal was a grim reminder of the devastating consequences of financial fraud. The turn of the century brought with it one of the most infamous cases of corporate fraud, the Enron scandal. This wasn't just a case of shady accounting, it was a cautionary tale of what happens when unchecked ambition collides with a culture of greed. Enron, once the 7th largest company in America, was the poster child for innovation in the energy sector. But behind the scenes, this Houston-based energy company was cooking the books. The top brass, led by CEO Kenneth Lay and his right-hand man, Jeffrey Skilling, orchestrated a complex web of deceit to inflate the company's profits and hide debt. Enron's auditors, Arthur Andersen, became complicit in this scheme, turning a blind eye to the financial wizardry and even destroying evidence when investigators started sniffing around. This wasn't just a failure of one company, but an indictment of the entire system that allowed such a massive fraud to occur. When the scandal broke in October 2001, it sent shockwaves through the U.S. economy. Enron filed for bankruptcy, wiping out billions of dollars in shareholder value and leaving thousands of employees jobless and pensionless. The fallout was so severe that it led to the dissolution of Arthur Andersen, one of the world's top accounting firms. But the Enron scandal also brought about significant changes. It led to the enactment of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which introduced stricter standards for corporate governance and accountability. Boards of directors were now held to a higher standard, and CEOs could no longer plead ignorance when it came to their company's financial statements. The Enron scandal was a wake-up call for corporations and regulators alike. It exposed the dark side of corporate America and underscored the need for transparency and accountability in business. In the end, it served as a poignant reminder that unchecked greed and ambition can lead to catastrophic consequences. Our journey into financial frauds brings us to the 21st century, where the digital age has given birth to a new kind of fraud, cryptocurrency fraud. As we delve into the world of bits and bytes, we encounter a story that has sent shockwaves through the crypto industry. The protagonist of this story, or perhaps more aptly, the antagonist, is Sam Bankman-Fried, the founder of the now-defunct cryptocurrency exchange, FTX. Accused of engineering one of the biggest financial frauds in American history, Bankman-Fried's tale is one of ambition, deception, and a fall from grace. The United States Department of Justice charged him with a spate of crimes, including conspiracy to commit wire fraud on customers and lenders, money laundering, and violations of campaign finance laws. Arrested in the Bahamas if convicted, he faces the prospect of spending many years behind bars. But the scale of this fraud is what truly boggles the mind. The failure of FTX, once a behemoth valued at $32 billion, has resulted in potential losses amounting to billions of dollars. This staggering figure comprises millions of creditors, including retail investors who had put their trust and their money into the exchange. The story of Bankman-Fried is not merely about one man's fall. It's a revelation of systemic vulnerabilities and the inherent risks in a rapidly evolving industry. It exposes the dark underbelly of the crypto world, where the promise of high returns can sometimes mask a labyrinth of deception and malfeasance. The case of Sam Bankman-Fried is a stark reminder of the risks involved in the rapidly evolving world of cryptocurrencies. It's a cautionary tale for those who venture into this digital frontier, a tale that echoes the timeless adage, caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. From Charles Ponzi in the 1920s to Sam Bankman-Fried in the 21st century, financial frauds have persisted. Over the years, we have seen the creativity of fraudsters in devising new schemes, from the notorious Ponzi scheme to the Enron scandal, and more recently, the cryptocurrency fraud. These scams have not only resulted in billions of dollars in losses, but also disrupted countless lives and shaken the very foundations of our economic systems. Despite advancements in technology and regulatory measures, the persistence of these frauds underscores the relentless nature of greed and deception. The impact is far-reaching, touching everyone from individual investors to large financial institutions and even entire economies. Yet, amidst these challenges, there lies an opportunity for us all. By raising awareness about these schemes and promoting the importance of regulation and transparency in the financial sector, we can all play a part in combating these frauds. As we continue to navigate the complex world of finance, one thing remains clear. Vigilance and regulation are our best defenses